You were born into it, or you arrived on a ship and never went back. Either way, the law said you were property, not a person. Property. The plantation had a name. The owner had a name. You had a name your mother gave you. Nobody here was going to use it. The quarters were a wooden box with a dirt floor. 12 people, one room. This was home now. This was going to be home for the rest of your life. Work started before sunrise. Children picked cotton alongside adults. The bag had a weight requirement. You met it or you didn't eat. The thorns cut your hands every single day. You learned to work through it. You learned to work through everything. Stopping was not an option you had. At night, the elders taught you what the overseers couldn't take, which roads led north, which stars to follow, which white people could be trusted, almost none. The law was written specifically against you. You could not legally learn to read. You could not own anything. You could not leave without a written pass. You could not exist freely in any way the law recognized. The slave patrols rode every road. No pass meant immediate capture. Capture meant punishment. Punishment was designed to be public. The message was always the same. This is what happens. Teaching a slave to read was illegal. Learning to read was illegal. You did it anyway, in the dirt, in the dark, in minutes stolen between exhaustion and sleep. Because knowledge was the one thing they couldn't chain. Any Sunday you could be sold. Any debt the owner had, any business decision, any whim. Your family could be separated at an auction block before noon and scattered across 3 states by nightfall. You watched families break. You watched children carried away from mothers who never stopped screaming. You filed that away in the place where things go that you cannot afford to feel and still survive the next day. Resistance didn't always look like rebellion. It looked like working slow enough to survive the heat, breaking tools that needed replacing, feeding the animals just slightly less than ordered. Every small act of sabotage kept something human alive inside you. The meetings happened in the woods after midnight, plans made in whispers, names passed through networks. Someone somewhere always knew a route, knew a conductor, knew which farm had a cellar with a false floor. Running was suicide odds. The patrols had dogs. The dogs had your scent from your own bedding. You ran anyway because the math of staying was worse than the math of running. The Underground Railroad wasn't a railroad. It was strangers willing to die for someone they'd never met. Abolitionists, Quakers, free black families who risked everything to hide one more person for one more night. If caught, they brought you back and made an example. The punishment was public by design. The audience was everyone you lived with. The lesson was meant for them, not just for you. When the war started, you felt it before anyone told you. The overseers got nervous. The owners got angry. Something in the air changed, and you understood before any announcement. This war was about you. When Union soldiers reached your county, thousands walked off the plantations. No announcement, no permission. They just stopped and left. 200 years of forced labor, and they stopped. Just like that. 180,000 black men enlisted in the Union Army. They were paid less than white soldiers, given worse equipment, sent on more dangerous assignments. And they fought anyway because the alternative was losing. April 1865, the war ended. The announcement came. Slavery was over. You were standing in a field you had worked for 20 years, and you owned nothing, had nothing, And now you were free in a country that had never treated you like you belonged to it. Freedom without land, without money, without 40 acres or a mule, without any infrastructure built to help you survive it. Just the road and the direction you chose to walk. For a few years after the war, black men voted, held office, built schools, started businesses. The window was real, and people ran through it as fast as they could. Then the backlash came, the Klan, the Night Riders, the burning of black schools and black churches and black-owned businesses. The systematic message: any progress you make, we will destroy. The black codes replaced slavery with paperwork, vagrancy laws, convict leasing. You could be arrested for not having a job and rented to the same plantation you just escaped. Slavery continued. It just had new forms now. Jim Crow law by law rebuilt the architecture of control, separate everything, inferior everything, and enforce it with the full power of the state and the constant threat of violence from neighbors. Millions left. The Great Migration, north to Chicago, to Detroit, to New York, not to paradise, to different rules, to factory work that at least paid wages, to cities where the hatred wore a different uniform. Millions left. The Great Migration, north to Chicago, to Detroit, to New York, not to paradise, to different rules, to factory work that at least paid wages, to cities where the hatred wore a different uniform. 4 million people, 246 years. The cotton that built the American economy, the railroads financed by it, the banks, the insurance companies, the universities. All of it built on labor that was never paid. You lost a language, a country, a name, a religion, a family structure. Everything that makes a people was systematically stripped, and the people rebuilt themselves from the pieces left over. That is the actual story of survival. Emancipation didn't end it. Reconstruction didn't end it. Civil rights didn't end it. Each generation inherited a different version of the same architecture. Each generation fought it anyway. That's what 200 years of surviving the unsurvivable looks like. They built this country. They were never paid for it. They were never thanked for it. And they never stopped fighting to be recognized as the people they always were, regardless of what any law said.